There we go. And we're live. That's a little loud. All right, there we go. That seems about right. Oh, it still says that I'm playing Serious Sam 4, and I'm very much not playing Serious Sam 4. Save. All right, there. Now I'm not playing Serious Sam 4. Oh, I closed that. I didn't mean to close that. Hey, what's going on, Rabbit? Hey, Sammy. How you guys doing? Hope you're having a great day. Morning, Pierce. Hey there, Preston and Consino. Joel. You guys having a good day? What's new? You've been playing an absurd amount of Human Fall Flat. I'm not really a huge fan. Okay, I actively dislike Human Fall Flat. I can understand why people like it. I don't like the controls. I feel like it has sloppy controls, and that's why I just don't like playing it. But like, there's a lot of games that control like Human Fall Flat, and I don't like any of them. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Yeah, I saw that. I haven't tested it out myself at all. Maybe later on in the stream I'll test it out, and we'll see what it's like. I will tell you this. I've been playing, well, been playing is a strong word. I spent an hour this week playing video games. Which is pretty terrible for somebody who talks about video games as like their second job. I've spent an hour playing video games this week, and it was all, well, okay, an hour and maybe 15 minutes. Spent an hour playing Risk of Rain 2. The game is fantastic. I really, really like Risk of Rain 2. And then I spent 15 minutes doing the tutorial for the murdery game. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? What's the murdery game called, guys? I can't remember. Dead by Daylight. I just remembered. We'll see. Is there like a really big delay or something? No, I have low latency turned on. Okay. Yeah, Dead by Daylight. I did the tutorial for that. I don't know if that's a game for me, which is too bad because it has crowd choice, which I wanted to try out, but I don't want to stream that game. I don't think. Like the whole, you know what it is? the whole part where I'm fine with, you're killing somebody. It's a game. It doesn't matter. The part that bugs me is putting them on the hook. I don't like that. That seems so awful. Risk of Rain 2 is so good, though. Hey, Jem. How's it going, man? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I might play it. I just don't feel like I can stream it. You know what I mean? Jem taking a break from Crash. Is Crash out? Preston, forgive the Luna question. All right, so before I go any further, you never... Look, I know that the name of the channel is StadiaCast, but we talk about all aspects of the industry. Anything that we find interesting, we talk about. I find Luna to be very interesting. Preston Casey says, forgive the Luna question. I imagine it's a bit played out right now, but I feel like nobody's really commenting on the advantage Stadia has by being built from the ground up to be streamed. Well, I mean, Luna is built from the ground up to be streamed too, so I guess I'm not seeing the comparison here. Or the contrast, I guess I should say. Oh, instead of being a Windows port with all of the with all of the overhead. But that overhead doesn't really matter because you're not paying for the hardware. You know, you don't have to buy the hardware in order to play these games. You know, you're just investing in the cloud instead. Goblin Lord X, how do you feel about the wired controller connected to the Stadia controller thing? I think that's fantastic. It's wonderful. And by the way, I tweeted out earlier. Here, I'll show. There we go. Oh, that's not the right size. Here, let me drop that down. Oh no, it is. Right there. Is that the right size? There we go. Okay. I tweeted out earlier, what do you guys want me to talk about? So I've got a list of things that I'm going to talk about, but we'll get to that stuff in a second. Right now, how you guys doing? Goblin Lord, that was one of my first thoughts. And I'm gonna tackle all of these topics that people tweeted in and anything that you guys send in. Excuse me as well. But we're gonna get to that in a little bit, Goblin Lord. I think it's a really good thing. I think it's a really, really good thing. I mean, okay, so Consino, you said, I don't know, Luna is Windows virtual servers. What's the difference? I mean, let's be honest. Stadia is virtual Linux servers. Or, sorry, Linux virtual servers, or however you want. It's just the operating system that's different. Kumna, no, it's not Sunday already. Today is Saturday, my friend. It is Saturday. I felt like this is one of the first days that I've woken up this week without a screaming headache. And I figured, you know what? I feel like having a conversation with people. You know, we had the Google event, which I didn't pay any attention to because I was working. Then we had the Pro Games, which I haven't paid any attention to because I was working. And both of those came and went without me making any kind of comments on. And so I figured before tomorrow's show, where I need to know what I was talking about, maybe you guys could educate me on all of the stuff that I missed all week because I've been working nonstop. Preston, I know it's a big point being made about the advantage of Stadia at one of the early events where they specifically talked about work that went into building the ultimate streaming setup. Yeah. It's not a screensaver. It's actually my, so I had this extra monitor. I don't know why this didn't occur to me before. I had this extra monitor sitting in the corner on the other side of this room, just sitting in the corner that I wasn't using. I used to have it on my desk as a fourth monitor, but I wanted to get some stuff off the desk in front of me. And so I ended up taking it. It was just an old monitor that was getting thrown away. And I said, you know what, I'll take that. And it's been sitting in the corner because I didn't know what to do with it. And then it occurred to me, why don't I just hook one of my Raspberry Pis up to it? So, like, right now, it's showing Star Wars because that's the game that I've selected. That's Star Wars, I believe, for the 32X. But basically what I'll do is each time that I'm streaming or whatever, I'll just pick a different game, and that'll be going through its stuff. Eric Boyd says Dead by Daylight is crossplay, which is huge. You know what? I want all games to be crossplay. Every game should be cross-play on all platforms, even games that are not on Stadia. You know? Darren says, the new Chromecast is a fail in my book. A completely lost opportunity. Stadia should have been preloaded with a free trial of Pro. They're going to miss the holiday season. That product is not aimed at us, and that's okay. Eventually, it'll be updated. That product is aimed, and it never was aimed at us. That product has always been aimed at people who just want to watch stuff on their TV, and now they have a remote to do so. And later on, when it gets updated, suddenly a Stadia icon will show up on it, and maybe it'll come with that free trial of Pro that you're talking about. But for, you know, that part of Google's a huge company, and for that part of the company to delay a product because a different part of the company isn't ready for it, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I saw somebody said this on Twitter. That's like saying, hey, Microsoft should not ship this next build of Windows because it doesn't have xCloud pre-installed. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. There's different audiences, and there is some crossover in that audience, to be sure. And it will be a bonus advantage to see Stadia on that device later on. But I don't think it's the end of the world that it didn't ship with it. I think it's okay. Consigno, I agree with you that the Luna will have an advantage as far as the number of games that come out for it. Only because, or not only, but because they're using Windows, and a lot of companies are targeting Windows anyway, so it's pretty easy for them to port it. But the pitchforks are ready and the torches are lit. Well, I don't know. Find some place else to take them. Trev says people are just looking to be disappointed. I think that's 100% true. Maybe not the people who are saying things in here, but there's a lot of people who are looking for reasons. This happens on the internet all the time. There are people out there who are just looking for a reason to be upset about something. They're not happy unless they're mad. That's the only time that they're happy about anything, is when they're mad about something. I don't know what that is. Like, I don't. There's got to be like some kind of name for it in psychology journals or something. You know, I'll ask my daughter. She's got a degree in psychology. But there's people out there who are unhappy unless they're mad, and I don't know what to tell them. Oh, Darren, I agree. The Luma ad was really, really fantastic. It really was. Andre, I wouldn't call them haters. There's a lot of people who are huge fans of Stadia that are upset about the the fact that it wasn't a major focus of the Google presentation. Root Verani says Stadia ads are getting better. I don't know. I never see them. I never see them. StadiaCast. Do you visit ESRB to look for new games? There is a search function, filter for Stadia only to get a heads up, like a SpongeBob game coming. Yes, I do that almost every Sunday morning. So I'll show you what I do real quick. ESRB. So I go to the ESRB and I go down here to see all. And then under see all, I just click on Stadia. And now it shows you the games, and then I kind of go through this. Now, this is something I can do now, but later on, this won't really be an option. I won't be able to do this anymore because the number of games will get too long, and it's not like it's weird. I don't know what order they're in. Like, that's the thing I haven't figured out, is what order they're in. Brian H88, I don't think it has an Ethernet port. It doesn't come with an Ethernet port, Brian, but you can buy an upgrade for it. So the new Chromecast doesn't come with an Ethernet port, which a lot of people are like, no, that means that they don't care about Stadia. No, it means that they understand that most people are completely fine using Wi-Fi on this thing. So you can buy an Ethernet adapter for it, and that's perfectly reasonable. David Wood, I love the channel. Gotta go now, watching Leeds United soccer, as you call it over there. All right, have fun watching the football. Sammy, I saw your question. You don't have to keep repeating it. I'll get to it eventually, man. Wi-Fi is trash, work latency, consistency. Oh, Wi-Fi is trash. Wi-Fi is trash with latency and consistency. I play on Wi-Fi quite often. So in this room, I obviously have Ethernet because when we were building this, I talked to the contractor and I said, I want Ethernet in this room because I am a streamer. And so we ran Cat 6 all through it, and I've got Ethernet ports right over where my computer plugs in, and everything's good. When we were, this is an attic that we've converted into 2 rooms, my studio and my wife and I's bedroom across the hall. And when we were running Ethernet, I was so stupid. I don't know why I did this, but I said, you know what? I don't need Ethernet in there because all we ever use the TV for is just to watch shows. Like, I don't play any games in there where Ethernet's really that big a deal. So we only have Wi-Fi in the bedroom, and I play, like, my wife will be sitting down reading a book and I'll be playing a game on the TV using Stadia, and it works fine. You know, if you're having trouble, maybe you need a better router or something. And that's a possibility. Yeah, I'll talk about the tandem controller in a little bit. Let me let's go to what people were asking me real quick. So earlier today, I said I might be doing an open... Oh, you know what I should do? Here's what I should do. Let me copy this. Actually, hey guys, do me a favor. Do me a favor. You see this right here? This button. Click on this button, and then copy that link, right? And then share it to your favorite social media platform right now. Maybe it's Twitter or whatever, or Reddit or something like that, and just say, hey, we're talking about video games over here. Head on over there and hang out and have some fun. All right, so I'm going to say, and we're live right now. Come join us. And I'll tweet that out. Sugo, thank you very much. He says, have a happy Saturday, everybody. And I appreciate that, man. I really do. Let me just... I forgot to open up my super chats. I don't remember how to do that. Stream. There we go. There we go. All right. I'll change that over to this. Sorry, I got distracted. The activity feed. Pop out the activity feed. And I close that. All right. So our first question, Dexter wants to know, do you think Stadia has a Connect planned for its 1-year celebration next month? That is an awesome question. Consigno, thank you very much for the super chat, and thank you to Sukotronic as well. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for the super chats. You guys are fantastic. We appreciate the support. So what do you guys think? When do you think that we're going to get the next Stadia Connect? I mean, it would make a lot of sense to do it, to do a Stadia Connect on, how do I want to say this? On like an anniversary of when Stadia came out, which, what was that? Like November 18th, I believe. Let me look at the calendar and see. November 18th. That's a Wednesday. But unless they have something to, I'm of the mind. November 19th. Okay. I'm of the mind that unless you've got something really cool to talk about, they should stop doing Stadia Connects unless they have huge news. And not because I don't think that they should share this information, but I think that the people, they always get too... Oh, you know what? No, I've changed my mind. I don't think that they should stop doing a Stadia Connect. I think that they should not announce a Stadia Connect, which would be bad for me. Like we have our largest number of new subscribers and stuff during those Stadia Connects. There'll be over 1,000 people. Actually, I think it was close to 1,400 people were watching Lloyd and I do a live stream of the last Stadia Connect. So it's bad for me for them to not announce them. But I think that it would be good if they were just like, oh, and by the way, here's a Stadia Connect. That way people don't have time to overhype and what's the word that I'm looking for where people are expecting things? I can't remember what it's called. It's not overhype, but it's the same thing. They anticipate what Google's going to do incorrectly. And yeah, there we go. Thank you, Kumna. Yeah, it's anticipation. They see that there's a Stadia Connect and then they start to speculate. That's the word I was looking for. All right, so they speculate at what Google's going to do, and then when Google doesn't do what they speculated that Google would do, they get mad at Google. And that's ridiculous. Like, there's no good reason for that. And that's not Google's fault. That's the fault of the people who get way too speculative and don't understand that their speculations, the things that they're hoping for, may be false. That might not happen. So what I think would solve that problem, and it would be bad for me as a channel, but would solve that problem is if Google just said, oh, by the way, there's a Stadia Connect right now. Here it is. Bam. And then people would be like, oh, okay, all right. An instant premiere on YouTube. I think that would make a lot of sense. Well, no, Andre, I don't think that Google is the first ones to overhype the Connects. They say, hey, we're having a Stadia Connect and we're going to talk about games and features that are coming to Google Stadia. And then all of the replies to that thread are, oh, we're going to get family planning. We're going to get family sharing. They're going to give out a Stadia controller to the firstborn of every family. people come up with all of this ridiculous stuff, and Google can't. And I used to say, well, when this happens, these companies should. When these kind of things happen, then Google should make sure that they say, no, that's not what's happening. But if they say that's not what's happening, then they're essentially confirming anything that they say that's not what is happening. I've seen their Twitter account, Andre, saying something like, we can't wait for you to see what we have in store. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think that's overhyped. Killajan, just wondering, have you or Lloyd tried Crowd Choice yet? I don't think that Lloyd has. I haven't, because I don't want to stream that game. I'm just not particularly interested in playing that game. Before I go any further, I just want to say thank you to Obi-Wan Kenobi, Phil Collins, Christopher Bernier, and Daryl Smock Jr. for their memberships. You guys are awesome. And thank you to Sukotronic and Consino for the super chats. We really do appreciate the support that you guys give. It is absolutely fantastic. So back to Dexter's question, do I think Stadia has a Connect plan for its 1-year celebration next month? I don't know. But do not pre-announce it unless you've got something really amazing. And then make sure that when you do that, that everybody comes and watches it here with us. Hopefully on a weekend, because I can't do things during the week anymore. Oh, Preston, you're 100% correct. So Preston just said something very interesting. He said, I think we as fans kind of have a history of attaching our own personal identity to our platform of choice. And I think that's absolutely correct. And it stems from this nonsense of the 80s and 90s, the late 80s and 90s, when we had the console wars, between Nintendo and Sega. And that's because the people who were playing video games, like me, were kids. We were kids at the time. And we didn't have a lot of disposable income. And we wanted our platform to be the one that everybody else used, so that we could trade games and all of that stuff. So we all wanted the platform that we had chosen to be the most successful platform. And so we were always like, people would, say, oh, the Genesis is terrible, or, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and things like that. But now that mindset has continually perpetuated forward throughout the industry, and it doesn't make sense to be like that anymore, for a couple of reasons. It absolutely does not make sense to be like that when it comes to cloud gaming, because you don't have to have the investment of multiple hundreds of dollars in order to play a game on that system. So, I can pick up Baldur's Gate 3 on Google Stadia without investing any money into the platform at all. I don't have to be a pro member. I don't have to buy a controller. I don't have to buy anything. I just have to have access to the internet, and I can play it. And then the same thing can't necessarily be said for xCloud yet. We're still wondering what's going to happen with, are they going to allow you to buy games for xCloud? And the same thing with Luna. We don't know what their business model really is yet. But if those two platforms also allow you to buy games, then does it make any sense to be for there to be an us versus them mentality. And I've been arguing for a really long time, absolutely not. There's no good reason why we would have that us versus them mentality. Too many people have it, though, which is too bad. Eric Hickman, do you think they will do something for Founders for the Stadia anniversary? I don't know. Founders got a Chromecast Ultra. They got a exclusive controller. We got 3 months of Stadia Pro. We got a buddy pass to give to somebody, of which we gave away over 100 of them. We got a lot of stuff for backing the system. We got our fancy names without numbers after them, and those little icons. I feel like I got everything that I needed out of it. I'm not looking for more. McSaucy, don't be pedantic. You know what I mean. Anyway, I don't think that they owe Founders anything extra. You know what I mean? That's no different than me saying, you get your free games with Pro. You don't really get free games with Pro. You're paying for them. It's the same thing. Oh, okay. All right. I get what you're saying. I thought you were being McSalty. Killajan, I think Google needs an annual subscription option. Oh my God, why don't they have that? It's so foolish of them not to have that. And I asked John Justice about that when I interviewed him, and he said, "Oh, is that something people want?" I honestly, I think the whole Founders versus non-Founders thing is a mistake. I don't think that they should have done that. Especially on the forum thing, having a Founders only section for the forum. It just divides people. Is Uplay Plus still coming? The messaging has been awful. How has the messaging been awful? They just haven't said anything about it. Kumna, do they have it for any of the YouTube services? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What is it? And McSaucy, just so you're aware, I apologize if you were offended by my comment. I thought you were being salty. Oh, yearly payment options. I don't know. I'm not sure if they do. I mean, I have YouTube Premium or whatever the hell it's called. Because we have Google devices in the house, and we use YouTube Music. So I have no idea if there's I'm not sure if there's an annual sub. Mindplague says, I bet Uplay Plus will arrive on Luna at the same time, if not before Stadia. That's possible. It's easier for Ubisoft to port their games to Luna than it is to port their games to Stadia. So my guess is the reason we don't have Uplay Plus on Stadia yet is because they're trying to get more games on Stadia to make it worth it for people. And on Luna, that's not going to be an issue because those are just Windows ports. Goblin Lord says, somewhat unrelated to gaming, what did you think of YouTube TV? Seems like it would be competing directly with primary ISPs. Don't most ISPs in the US bundle internet and cable? They do. I'm not interested in live TV. I don't care about live TV even a little bit. And YouTube TV that's all about like live TV and DVRing stuff. I don't want to DVR stuff because then I have to watch the stupid commercials that are on in between them. I can't remember the last time I saw a commercial. The two big Ubisoft games are coming, Phoenix and Valhalla. Would be nice if Uplay Plus was there before release. I'm planning on buying both. That's a really good point. Yeah, Todd says live TV is more for sports. You know what? My wife and I, we probably watched, I don't know, I'll say 5 or 6 baseball games this summer. We don't have live TV. We just downloaded the app on our Apple TV and found the free game of the day because we're not huge sports fans. CVL says, sup guys? Something interesting I noticed about Luna is they're only running around 8.5 teraflops of GPU compute, which would explain the 1080 at launch. Stadia will have a fidelity advantage. Teraflops is not the end-all be-all when it comes to how good something is. Maybe there's another reason why they're only going at 1080p first. But I don't know. I think teraflops gets thrown around way too much and people put too much emphasis on it. Let's take a look at Coach Smith. He tweeted, he said, how Amazon Luna has a better business model than Stadia. So for that, I think I have to disagree. I don't think the Amazon Luna has a better business model than Google Stadia. We don't know what the real business. We don't know the full picture of Luna yet. I don't like what the business model is for Luna that they've shown. The channel thing, I'm not interested in that. I don't like that at all. I just want to buy a game, you know? And I don't mind subscribing to Luna Plus in order to have access to some games, kind of like Stadia Pro, kind of like xCloud, but I also want to be able to buy a game. And if you can't just buy a game, then I think that that's a huge mistake. I think that's a very, very big mistake. Joe Mann says, have we discussed Age of Calamity yet? Not yet. I can't wait for that game. That game is going to be absolutely amazing. Eric Boyd says, all the people who griped about not really owning your games on Stadia sure are excited for subscriptions. A lot of the people who griped about not owning your games on Stadia are the people who want to buy their games as a physical thing so that they can own their games. What a lot of those people tend to not understand is that when you buy those games, that comes like, I don't have one right here that I can reach. That, you know, it comes in a box and you can hold it up and you can feel it in your hand. You don't actually have the game. You have a license to the game. And the data is on the disc, but that license can be revoked at any time. That's what the EULA will say, that nobody ever reads, is that at any time they can take that away from you whenever they feel like it. So I think that the people who like physical media, maybe they don't have such great internet. Those people are the people who are really griping about not owning your games. And my guess, the people who are excited about Luna are probably different people. Of course, there are hypocrites out there, and I'm sure that you'll see some people who have said you don't own your games on Stadia, and then they're like all in on Luna because they hate Google, and that's fine too, if that's what you want to be. Have I talked about tandem mode yet? I have not talked about tandem mode, but Diego Rodriguez, he asked about tandem mode. He said, tandem mode. This is huge. This is really huge for Stadia. You could already use a lot of these devices on a computer. And Stadia basically allows you to use any HID compliant device if you're connected to a computer and playing through a browser. But that means that you can't play on a TV. Well, now you can. I mean, it's experimental feature, so we'll see how it works. But just by plugging your external controller, like your Xbox adaptive controller, plugging that into the back of your Stadia controller now makes that able to be used for Stadia. That's a big deal, and I think that that's really fantastic. What it doesn't do is allow you to use another controller as player 2. That would have been really cool as well. Like if I could grab my SN30 Pro Plus and plug it into my Stadia controller with a USB-C to C cable, and then sit down and play a game having only one Stadia controller, but both devices are sending information to the data center. I think that would have been really, really cool. Unfortunately, it seems like both controllers are player 1. So, because both controllers are player 1, I'm guessing that that's probably a hardware limitation. Maybe a firmware limitation. Maybe they can update the firmware in order to let that happen. I don't know. But I think that tandem mode is very, very cool. It can also be used, well, maybe in the future, it'll also be able to be used by getting a USB-C mouse and keyboard and plugging those into your controller, and then being able to use a mouse and keyboard as your input. Maybe. I think that would be very, very cool. Michael Marshall, I haven't tried it yet, but my concern with tandem is latency, whether it is increased. Well, Michael, think of it this way. I think it certainly wouldn't be more latent. It certainly wouldn't increase the latency more than using a PC. Because when I'm using a PC, I've got my keyboard and mouse, or my, maybe my SN30 Pro Plus. I've got this plugged into my PC and I'm using it to play a Stadia game. There's that latency there. Whereas if I'm using tandem mode and hooked up and hooked up to my Stadia controller, this is connected directly to the data center. So I don't think you would see a huge increase in latency. Latency really isn't the big bad that everybody said that it would be when Stadia was announced anyway. CVL, since I use xCloud, I've done random launch tests from opening the app to actual playing Stadia. Usually takes about 35 seconds. xCloud just takes over a minute. And sure, there's going to be people who, they're looking for a win wherever they can find one. Hey, look at this is why it's better to play on the platform that I like than the platform that you like. Just keep in mind that 30, you know, the extra 30 seconds or so, at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. Eric Hickman, do you ever think Google will partner with cable to offer cloud gaming as another service to sell like Spectrum has tried to do with Shadow Cloud Gaming? I think that we've already seen that happen. I can't remember where it was, but I think that's already happened. Try test. Why don't they enable Bluetooth first before tandem mode? I think tandem mode is more important. It's more important to get people who are unable to play games on your service to be able to play games on your service because, you know, they might not be able to play. Maybe they don't have two thumbs. And so the Microsoft Adaptive Controller is their only way to play games. Well, that means that they're not playing on TV, on Stadia. So that's why that's why you want to get the adaptive controller or the tandem mode working as fast as you possibly can, because that means that it's better for the people who need it. And Bluetooth is great, I guess, but look, this is the one reason that I want Bluetooth. This is the only reason that I want Bluetooth. And I'm sure that there's other people who want Bluetooth for other reasons. This is, I think it's my favorite controller. It's so comfortable. The build quality's fantastic. Although I know that Lloyd's had some problems with his. And I would love to use this on my PC, but I can't. Well, I can with USB-C controller or connector, I guess, but for the most part, I can't use this on my PC or on my iPad to play a game if I want, which I don't really do. That's really the reason that I would want Bluetooth. That's just so I could use this on non-Stadia stuff. Now, somebody else might want Bluetooth so that they can use Bluetooth headphones with their controller. And I completely understand that. The Bluetooth chip is too weak in the controller to support a consistent connection for gameplay. What's your source on that, Pote? It's easy for people to say that, but I don't think I read that anywhere. It just seems like speculation. I could be wrong, but it seems like speculation. The audio from the Stadia controller is a letdown, in my opinion. I don't really use it, so I'm not sure. I think I used it like once or twice. But that was before they gave us the sliders, Michael Marshall. Now we have sliders. So when you're playing a game, you can adjust the game for the voice and make it a little bit better. Yeah, but I don't know, Pote. There's not a lot of data from using a controller. There's not a lot of data. So I think it's okay. But I'm just speculating now. CVL says data caps should be illegal. I agree. One of the most anti-consumer things in existence. There's no such thing as a finite amount of data. This isn't gasoline. I completely agree with everything that you're saying, CVL. I don't know what you're responding to, though. I read that you can use USB-C mics now on the controller. I saw that on Reddit. Cool. I don't know, like, that doesn't affect me, but I'm sure that there's somebody out there who has a use case for it. It's funny, I was playing ESO with a member of our guild, the Nerd Nest, and he, like, he was playing on Stadia, and then he had like some kind of weird daisy chain of things in order to connect with Discord. It was like there's always a use case out there for somebody. So when I say I don't really care if USB-C mics are now able to be used on the controller, that means I don't care about it for me, but I'm happy that it's available for other people. Thoughts on Stadia expansion to other countries than the original 14? Yes, please. I want people in other countries to have access to Google Stadia, and it's taken Google a really long time to do that. I thought that we would have gotten, I don't know, a few more in the first year. David Moreno says Stadia sucks. Okay, well, I don't know what you're here for then, man. Go somewhere else. Just ignore them. Marco says, for me, Stadia has the best business model. I don't really want to play a limited library Netflix model. No newest AAA games at launch. By the way, love the show. Greetings from Italy. Well, there you go. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the show. All right, let's go back to Twitter real quick. Andre says how competition is good for Stadia and other streaming platforms. This is something a lot of people don't understand. Like, one of the reasons that Lloyd and I were so excited that Luna is here, or is coming, is because that means that it's going to push Google to do stuff, which is fantastic. Competition is always better for consumers. Think of it this way. Let's go back to the 80s. Nintendo is the king of the video game industry. And they said, you can't make these games on our platform. And then Sega came along and allowed other companies to make the games on their platform. And that forced Nintendo to change its policy when it came over to the Super Nintendo. And, you know, without competition, like let's imagine for a second that we didn't have competition. It was just Nintendo. When Nintendo made the N64 and they said, you know what, we know that CDs hold a lot more data and are a lot cheaper to manufacture, but we've decided to go with cartridges. And they're going to lie. They lied and they said the reason why, okay, maybe they didn't lie. Maybe it feels like a lie. But they said, we're going to go with cartridges because of the load times. We don't want you to have to wait for load times. That was their reasoning. The real reason, I believe, was because it made piracy more difficult. Piracy on a CD is much easier than piracy on a cartridge. But Nintendo had competition with Sony. And Sony ended up making the PlayStation, which used discs. And so that generation, the Nintendo 64, which I think is a better console than the PlayStation. You can hate at me if you want. It lost. It lost big time. You know, a lot of, games like Final Fantasy VII were actually able to be made over on the PlayStation, and they couldn't be made on an N64 because the N64 didn't have enough storage on its media. So competition is always a good thing. It always improves the consumer experience. I know, Jem. Nintendo and Sony were actually working together. And they had the Nintendo PlayStation as an add-on for the Super Nintendo. But then at CES, Nintendo announced that they were partnering with Philips on the CDI and putting their games on the CDI, and that gave us games like Wand of Gamelon and stuff like that. That was a huge mistake. See you later, Jem. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, Crash 4. There you go. Go play Crash, man. All right, let's go back to Twitter. Oh, thanks for the support, Jem. You're awesome, dude. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's go back to Twitter really quick. Let's see. Big Sif asked a really interesting question. He said, what genre of game is missing from Stadia right now? I think any game free to play. And then Pete Talks responded to him. He said a football game, preferably Pro Evolution 2021. As for free games, get the subscription. I just got 6 games for free on Thursday. All right. Pete has a good point about that. But first off, free-to-play games on Stadia. There are free-to-play games on Stadia. But because you don't buy the hardware, Google has to make money from it somehow. And so the only way for you to play those free-to-play games is to make a purchase. Kind of like, you buy this and you get a skin. I think that the way that you do it with Destiny 2, which is a free-to-play game, is you buy one of the expansions. Is it still free-to-play? I don't know. It's hard to decide. But what genre of game is missing? I don't know that there's any genre that's 100% unrepresented, but I can say that, man, what do you guys think? Oh, so strategy games. Pote says strategy games. You mean like turn-based strategy games? Okay, like Civ 5, RTSs. Okay, yeah, you guys are right about that. Real-time strategy games. Action RPG games. Really? Are there no action RPG games? I don't think that's true. There's got to be an action RPG game. Oh, yeah, there is. What the hell is it? I did a review of it. Darksiders. Darksiders is on Stadia. So there's an ARPG there. Spaceflight Sims. That is super niche, Mind Plague, but I do think that we're going to get Chorus next year. Charlie X wants Persona 5, those JRPG games. Yeah, I would like to, we have a JRPG in, what is the name of that game? Final Fantasy 15. Is it 15? In 15. It does not need more Lara Croft. Stadia has plenty of Lara Croft. But Path of Exile would be good. Clive Illenden says, games that interest my son. My son played a bunch of Human Fall Flat yesterday. If your son hasn't played Human Fall Flat, Clive, have him try that out. I bet you he'd like it. The kids seem to love that game. What's the best genre for Stadia is probably a better question. That's true. The best genre for Stadia is probably online multiplayer games or MMOs. Now, we have 3 MMOs on Stadia right now. There's Destiny 2, there's Division 2, and then there's Elder Scrolls Online. And I would like to see more. I would like to see World of Warcraft. I would like to see, obviously, every MMO. Because you're already online all the time anyway. What about DayZ? What about it, Deuce? I don't know anything about that game. I just know it's like a zombie game. That's all I know. Human Fall Flat is hilarious. I don't like it. I don't like the way it controls. It feels like the controls are super loose and sloppy. Like, I think that they could have done that much better. Aren't the Greggy Boy, aren't the Yakuza games exclusives for PlayStation? I could be wrong. I've never played one. I've never played any of them. They don't seem like they are games that would appeal to me. I'm fine with them coming to Stadia. I'm not interested. Would be nice to get Dark Matter, more open world games in general. Well, we're about to get Phoenix Rising, which I think is an open world game. And of course we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey and the new Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or the new Assassin's Creed game that's coming out whenever it comes out. Any date on the demo for Phoenix? I don't know. I've been out of touch with what's going on in the gaming industry right now. David Wilson, have we heard when Star Wars Fallen Order is actually going to release? I haven't heard anything, but I would be surprised if we don't get it before Christmas. Like, we should get that game by Christmas, I would think. But I haven't heard anything otherwise. Yakuza used to be only PlayStation, but it's coming for PC and Xbox now too. All right, thank you. Ray wants to know, am I picking up a next-gen console? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Like, for me, I would say the minimum buy-in is $500. I would not buy the Xbox Series S because of the storage issue, and I would not buy the Xbox Series X either, again because of the storage issue. I'm sorry, the PS5 all digital. I wouldn't buy either of those because of the storage issues. I think that the games are just too big these days. They're huge and they just don't have enough room for you to have a bunch of games installed at once. And so you have a choice. You can, like, if I went out and I bought an Xbox Series S. Oh my God, the naming conventions. If I ended up buying a Series S, then I would also have to spend $200 on the expanding storage because the storage is half on the Series S. And that seems just ridiculous to me. Trev, any thoughts on the recent ESRB and PEGI ratings? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm going to go to esrb.org right now. I'm going to look at Stadia. So we got Mafia, Just Dance, Assassin's Creed, Outward. What is Outward? What is Outward? I don't know anything about that game. So we have Outward. There's Baldur's Gate 3, Watch Dogs Legion, Mafia 2. So far, the only thing that I noticed is Outward is something that I'm not aware of. Far Cry New Dawn, I think wasn't that already announced? But that's an Ubisoft game, so it doesn't surprise me at all that it's on Stadia. Oh, what's this? Kays and the Wild Masks. Or Kays and the Wild Masks. Side-scrolling platformer game in which players help a bunny on a quest to rescue a friend. Players for just play. Okay, interesting. SpongeBob. Heard not good things about that. Michael Mooney says, did you see PS5 has less than 700 gigabytes of usable storage? Yeah, I did see that. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Are there any other games that are jumping out to you guys as on the ESRB? Like I said, I've been out of the loop. I've been working all the time, and I've not been playing any games or like reading about games. Greggy Boy, the copying of from an H hard disk drive to the internal storage is pretty quick, so I'll hook up a 4 terabyte to it, 10 minutes per 50 gigabytes. And you know what, Greg, that is a solution, but I don't want to have all that crap hooked up to it. Like, I remember I had a Wii U, and I had to have a hard drive, an external hard drive hooked up to it in order to have my games ready for when I wanted to play them. And it's like, now you've got all of these friggin' wires all over the place, and this has to be plugged in, and now I gotta manage, okay, I gotta make room for this plug someplace. Now I gotta get another power strip. It's just always kind of a pain, and I'm not interested in doing that. It's just too much of a hassle. Too much hassle. Rainbow Six Siege. Wasn't that announced? There were 9 games listed this week. I'm too spoiled by Stadia. I can't go back to Dynotech consoles. It's just that, like, storage is a big deal. My son has a PlayStation 4 downstairs, and he has to have an external hard drive hooked up to it so that he can have his games installed. And these aren't even the games that are like 200 gigabytes. Because that's an actual thing. These 200 gigabyte games, they're huge, and it's just dumb how huge these games are. Oh man, thank you again, Michael, for the super chat, and thank you to William for the super chat. You guys are fantastic. Everspace and Destroy All Humans are both listed. Well, that means maybe they're coming soon. Everspace, I don't think that has been previously announced for Stadia, but Destroy All Humans was already announced. That's the game I was thinking of. Johannes? Is it Johannes? Modern Warfare, 250 gigabytes. What the hell? Ronil, Bill, did you get the new Chromecast? No, I didn't. I didn't want to spend the $50 on it. Which I know that's actually really cheap. Like, that's impressive how cheap it is. But then I wouldn't be able to play Stadia in the other room. So we're just going to keep using the Apple TV until it supports Stadia. Justin Lindholm says, I like how minimum Stadia is with just the Chromecast and the controller. Yeah, I agree with that. It's awesome. Cedric, been playing Star Wars Squadrons. I wish that'd come to Stadia. Me too. I was watching there's a YouTube channel called, I think it's like Star Wars Theories, something like that. I don't subscribe to it, but I watch enough of it that it shows up in my feed. I don't know why I don't subscribe to it, but he was wearing a Rebel Alliance helmet, and he was streaming on YouTube, and I was watching some of it, and I was like, man, this game is beautiful. There you go. Thank you. Star Wars Explained. I couldn't remember the name of it. I do think that eventually that game will come to all platforms. Well, probably not Nintendo Switch, but it'll come out on all platforms. I'm sure it will eventually. Andre Jimenez. Hopefully I said your name right. Thank you very much for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You guys are really awesome. You know, when you guys send in those super chats, you can send a comment with it, and I'll always see that comment and I'll be able to respond to it. Those of you that send them in without any comment, like you're just supporting the channel, you guys are awesome. Preston Casey, here's one for you, Bill. Final Fantasy 14. Preston Casey, I'm going to reach through the internet and slap you if you're messing with me. Final Fantasy 14 has been rated by the ESRB for Stadia? Did you really just say that? That can't be true, is it? I got my hand right here. I'm going to slap him. Here it comes. It's a ban incoming. Don't get my hopes up. Don't give me hope. Can anybody confirm it? Streamer abuse. All right, just because he said that, I'm going to switch over to a Final Fantasy game. There. Googling is proving unsuccessful so far. Well, I'm never going to forgive him. That was Star Wars for the 32X, for the Sega 32X. See you later, Sammy. Oh, okay, I gotta look this up. Do we have Final Fantasy 14 Stadia leak? Get rid of leak. Let's go. We'll go past week. The only thing I see. The only thing I see is somebody asking for it on Reddit. You didn't enjoy Final Fantasy 14, too slow a pace for you, but it's a good game. So, Liam, what I would say to that is Square did not put their best foot forward with that. it feels like a really slow game at first because you have so few abilities. When you get to the end game, you have tons of abilities, and the mechanics of the fights are really, really cool. And so when you first start playing, it is a very slow-paced game. But later on, once you're higher level, you got a million things that you can do, and it's not nearly as slow-paced. Preston hasn't said anything. About it. Preston, what are you talking about? Why are you bringing up Final Fantasy 14? Jake Wilcox, what games have you been playing lately? I haven't played any games lately. I played an hour of Risk of Rain, and I played the tutorial in Dead by Daylight. I haven't played anything else. Just haven't had time. Oh, you know what? I lied. I played about a half an hour of Mario 35. He quickly changed the subject. Yeah, he did, because he knew. Whoosh. Time for the slap. How is Risk of Rain 2? Risk of Rain 2 is awesome. That game is really good. No, don't be sorry, Preston. I'm just messing with you. But I agree with you. We need that game. That game would be amazing on Stadia. But yeah, Risk of Rain 2 is really good. I played... I got up to, I don't know what level it was, but I got up to where it was like, it was just me and a boss. And then the boss one-shotted me, which made me mad. At least I think it one-shotted me. But that game's really good. I kind of want to play it. But anytime that I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and then I start playing a game, viewership drops immensely. Is Risk of Rain 2 crossplay? I don't know. Like I said, I've been out of the loop with the news. I've been working on nonstop. Merrick, The Witcher 3 is apparently not available on GeForce Now on Android anymore. Imagine if Stadia got it. I'd rather it be available everywhere. Let's find out if Risk of Rain 2 is cross-play. Is Risk of Rain 2 cross-platform? So this is older, but according to Game Revolution, it says, sorry folks, Risk of Rain 2 does not have cross-platform play yet, at least not yet. So I don't know if it's still not, that's 2019. Still doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. Roneel! Does Scuff work when USB-C to Stadia controller? I haven't tried it, but I don't see why it wouldn't. Lord Vivek, I was just talking about it, man. Rewind 5 minutes and you'll hear me talking about it. People on Stadia subreddit are complaining, what a surprise, about not finding online matches, so I'm guessing no crossplay. That's weird, because... So, I did an online match, and as soon as I hit the button, I was matched with another person. Now, it was just me and that person, but it was instantaneous. And me and that other person, they carried me, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Because there's no tutorial for the game. But like they were carrying me, and we played together for a little bit, and I ended up leaving. Like after I got killed, and he continued to kill things afterwards, I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave. So I waited until he got his loot, and then I quit the game. Liam says, try to do tech reviews, not games. I believe it will boost your viewership. Many Stadia players are tech savvy. Liam, I would love to do tech reviews, but I don't have the money to buy the items to review them. Anyway, back to what Ronil was saying. I would assume that Scuff would work, but I'm not 100% positive. I don't know. Yeah, he's asking about Tandem. Giovanni Carrera, how can Stadia Online gaming increase dramatically? New countries, new features? I think it just needs to be a slow and steady climb over time. But new countries would absolutely help. You know, a slow and steady climb over time is probably what will happen. I think people are always expecting to have that hockey stick graph where it just shoots straight up. That's unrealistic. Especially from somebody who's new to the market. Is this game behind me doing anything? I don't think it is. I'm going to have to pick a different game. We'll take a look at ESPN baseball tonight. Canadians and their hockey references. Oh, there was a hockey game that just got announced that I think a lot of people would be looking forward to. It's like an 8 or not 8-bit, but like a 16-bit hockey game. What was that? It looked really cool. New 16-bit hockey game. NHL 94 Rewind. Pre-order NHL 21 to get it for free on October 30th. Hockey fans or really anyone. Oh, so this is it just NHL 94 as a ROM? I thought it was going to be a hockey game. Oh, it's today's teams and today's rosters with controls and graphics from 1994. That's awesome. That's really cool. I think they should do this with Madden. The best version of Madden was Madden 94. Or maybe it was Madden 92. Yeah, Madden 92. Was there a Madden 92? I think there was. I think there was a Madden 92. 92. Yeah. There wasn't a Madden 92. That's the one I remember playing a bunch of. Hopefully they've not added microtransactions. Come on, it's EA. They have to add microtransactions. It's in their bylaws. India would be nice adding. I don't know about Brazil connection speeds. Are they enough for Stadia? I don't know. I've never been there. Liam says, sorry, maybe I didn't express myself properly. I mean, talk more about Stadia updates like crowdplay, for example. Well, I don't have access to crowdplay, so I have not been able to try it. I have not tried crowd choice because I don't want to stream Dead by Daylight. And I don't know what else to say. We did recently, like, if you load up Stadia, there is now a way to link your YouTube account to it. So that's going to happen soon, that we'll be able to stream games, which is really, really cool. Marique says, I thought I'd go a month without Stadia to Pro to see what it's like, and man, the limit on video captures is already annoying. I could see that. Be nice if we could mass delete videos. Yeah, I capture videos, but then I never use them for anything. Like here, I'll show you a video that I captured in I don't know what in Risk of Rain 2. So here's my here's when I got killed. Oh, hey Cedric, thank you. All right, I'm gonna respond to Cedric first, and then we'll come back to this. So Cedric sent in a super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, "Funny story. I watched your old 5 things Stadia needs to put on their whiteboard video from 10-ish months ago. The comment said Stadia needs to invest in the indie market. Now everyone complains they're too much. What are the odds that people are looking for something to complain about?" Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Cedric, thank you very much for the support. I do appreciate it, man. Yeah. And whatever people are asking for right now, as soon as we get it, people will complain about it. That's just the way it works. All right, so I was playing as a commando. I had all of these items, which was cool. And look, I had 330 kills, and I dealt all this damage. This game is so cool. Let's move on to this. Oh, that's when I died, I think. So this was me playing. I was fighting this guy. This is the guy that killed me, Mithrix. I was like, okay, I can take him. I'm slowly whittling his health down, and he's staying at bay. But then he ended up killing me big time. I was like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? And there was the end right there. But then, let's see if we can look at all. Oh, this was a cool fight too. Look at this. I had to fight the magma worm, super magma worm, but it's really fun to say. That's not a video though. Where's my videos? I guess I didn't capture very many videos of it. Anyway, Risk of Rain 2 is a really, really good game. Not a fan of Farming Simulator, Bill? No, that game is so boring. What happens is I play the game and I'm like, oh, that was a cool moment. I'm going to capture it. And I never look at it again. I never look at it again. Do you guys look at your captures that you capture? Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. We're a huge, we're a niche, but we're all over the place. Now, I'm going to hop into Twitter real quick and see what other people wanted me to talk about. Let's see. Third time of having loss of data save progress on Orcs Must Die 3. Well, that hasn't happened to me, so I don't know anything about it, but David P., that's terrible. Joel Thompson says YouTube TV has under 3 million subscribers. Speaking of subscribers, thank you for the sub there, Eric. Anyway, they said, why aren't people complaining about that service being killed like people are with Stadia? I don't know. Because here's the thing. People for some reason expect somebody to come into the gaming industry and destroy everything else. Think of the number of times that we've seen an MMO come out and everybody says, this is the WoW killer. And WoW's still around. But guess what? Those other games are still around too. Some of them. You know, Elder Scrolls Online came out. This is the WoW killer. No, it turned out it wasn't the WoW killer. In fact, it had a horrible launch. but it still is doing very well today. Repeat that same exact sentence and just replace Elder Scrolls Online with Final Fantasy XIV. This is the WoW killer. There's all of these WoW killers. People expect hockey stick graphs, and they don't expect those slow and steady build-up. And it makes perfect sense for Stadia to have a slow and steady build-up over a long period of time. Do you remember WildStar? Marique, WildStar was fantastic. A fantastic game, mired by their awful marketing. Absolutely terrible marketing. They were trying to focus completely on trying to pull hardcore players from WoW, and all that did was scare people away, because the vast majority of people who play World of Warcraft are super casual. So Joel Thompson, he said YouTube TV has under 3 million subscribers. Why aren't people complaining about that service being killed like people are with Stadia? It's cool to hate on Stadia. Nobody knows what YouTube TV is, and nobody cares what YouTube TV is. Well, at least not a lot of people. So there's the answer there. Yeah, exactly, Ray. Exactly. I don't understand why Stadia hasn't completely dominated the entire gaming market, completely obliterating people who've been in the industry, or companies who've been in the industry for decades after only 1 year of being released. Marique, WildStar was awesome. Really liked it. Oh, I played so many MMOs. I started with MUDs, obviously, but then I also played. Let me grab it real quick. I also played Ultima Online. This is my cloth map for Ultima Online of Britannia. It's cloth. There's my cloth map of Britannia that came with my copy of Ultima Online. Love this game. This was amazing. And then I eventually moved on to EverQuest. Now, if you like hearing people talk about games that they love, I'm going to use this as a chance to advertise a podcast, which you guys need to check out. And if you already check out the podcast and you enjoy it, say so in chat, please. But 143 Pixels, which you can find over at 143pixels.com. You can find by going there to 143pixels.com. I've had episodes where we talked about Ultima Online. I've had episodes where we talked about EverQuest. I've had episodes where we've talked about World of Warcraft. And you guys have got to check out. The newest episode is featuring Per Schneider, who is one of the founders of IGN. And we spent about an hour talking about Zelda: A Link to the Past. So make sure I had Andre Seegers on the show talking about Mario 64. He's the guy who founded GameXplain. We've talked about Earthbound and Luigi's Mansion, Suikoden 2, Soul Edge, Borderlands 2, Metroid Prime, Mega Man 4, Phantasy Star Online, Super Empire Strikes Back, Zelda for the NES, Taitsu no Tatsujin Drum and Fun, Metroid Fusion, Kingdom Hearts 3, Gone Home, EverQuest, Link's Awakening for the Switch. I had David Brevik on, and actually twice. I had him on once where we just talked about his career, and then he was also on again, and we talked about EverQuest, Grim Fandango, Final Fantasy X, Ultima Online, NBA Jam. So make sure that you guys check out 143 Pixels. Go to 143pixels.com. Why 143 pixels? Well, that's the number of pixels. Like, I picked a random Mario sprite, and I counted the pixels in that sprite, and there were 143 pixels in that sprite, and I thought it sounded cool because 143 is also, there's, when you go I love you, it's one letter, 4 letters, 3 letters, and so it kind of all goes together. Ooh, Lineage 2. I've played a little bit of Lineage 2. All is well, Brian. All is well. Liam Faye says, I don't like Destiny 2, but I like the concept as an MMO. Very easy to enjoy as a casual player. I can't play WoW or Elder Scrolls Online. The immersion is too overwhelming for me. What do you mean by that, Liam? I don't think I played Archlord or Runes of Magic, but I played Asheron's Call. I played Anarchy Online. I played Asheron's Call 2. I played Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest, Star Wars Galaxies, Star Wars The Old Republic, Ultima Online. I was so excited for Ultima Online 2, and then EA killed it. What are some other MMOs that I've played? Black Desert, Guild Wars 2. And there's more. I just can't think of them right now. Oh, WildStar. Have I ever played Eve? I'm not really into, like, that game would not appeal to me. I've seen people play it. Not interested. Vaxer, who's, I'm going to mispronounce his name here. It's Bizek Piku. He's mad that I don't play Guild Wars 2 anymore, because that's when he started watching me, was back when I played Guild Wars 2. Jean-Sebastian says, can anyone stream Baldur's Gate 3, or do you need to have like 1,000 followers already? I have no idea. Listen, Vaxer, if you want me to pronounce your name right, send me a recording on how to pronounce your name, because I want to know. I think anybody can stream, Jean-Sebastian. I think on YouTube you just have to... I think you have to wait 24 hours. Anyway, anytime you guys hear me say something about Vaxer, that's Vaxor. All right, going back to Twitter. Let's see what other people wanted me to talk about. Suriana says, talk about the possibilities for Google to make Stadia more popular. What should Google do to get more players on the platform? So, what should Google do to get more players on the platform? What I would do is I would release a game on Google Stadia for free, not for Stadia Pro, just free. So I would say, oh God, you know what would be amazing? If Google just said, you know what? Google has deep pockets. If Google, I'm not suggesting that Google. I'm not suggesting that they buy Larian Studios. But what I suggest is that they give a copy of that game to every single person who signs up for a Stadia account. Not a pro account, just a Stadia account. Just give them a copy of Baldur's Gate 3. And then, you know, if they give me a copy, they cut a check to Larian Studios for that. That would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. And then people would be playing it and they'd be like, wow, I'm playing this on my Chromebook. That's right, Gregor boy. You heard it here first. Bill, do you know when Uplay Plus is coming? I don't have any information on that. What do you think about the free demos as a game for free for everyone? It depends on the game. Are you being, like, is there a specific thing that was announced that I'm not aware of? Oh, I understand. You're talking about Phoenix Rising, right? Preston, I did play City of Heroes. I also played the other superhero MMO that I can't remember what its name was. Yeah, so Phoenix Rising, I can't remember. Do you have to have Pro for that? No, you don't. You just need to have a Gmail address. I think that's a really good start. That's not the one that I'm thinking of, Marik, but I also played DC Universe Online. Not City of Villains, but I also played that. There was another superhero game. I think it was also from NCSoft for some reason. Greggy boy, what if they gave a certain amount of game time per month for each account that you could spend as demo time? That would be really cool. And it's just free for everybody. I played a tiny little bit of Rift. Didn't really get my attention. I played Warhammer, whatever it was. I played Anarchy Online. I did not play Aeon Online. Jean Sebastian, where to buy Cyberpunk, PS5 or Stadia? It comes out later on Stadia, but so does the PS5 upgrade. Tough choice, in my opinion. I'm not interested in. If I do buy a next-gen console, I'm 99% sure that I will not be buying a PS5. Sony did too much to tick me off during the PS4 era. So if I do get a next-gen console, I would end up buying an Xbox Series X. But I'm definitely not getting one at launch. But for me, most games that I'm going to get are going to be on Stadia because I want to be able to play them in this room, on my TV downstairs, on my TV across the hall. Marik says the Harry Potter game looks really good. Shame it's not coming to Stadia. Does it though? Like, it's an interesting idea, but have we seen gameplay? That's the thing. I do not get excited about video games when all that they will show me is cutscene stuff. Show me what the game actually plays like. And it's not about the graphics for me. Like, there's a lot of people who will look at a game, like the cutscenes, and they're like, man, that game looks so pretty. And then when we see what the game actually plays like, they're like, oh, it doesn't look as good. That's not my argument. My argument is I want to see how the game actually plays. So I'm not interested in that Harry Potter game until I see how the game actually plays. Darren CP says, definitely cover the new Chromecast and how Google dropped the ball by not having Stadia app preloaded with a trial of Pro. First half of 2021, that misses the rush of holiday purchases. Lost opportunity. While I won't say it's a lost opportunity, and I've talked about this earlier in the stream, I don't think it's as big a deal as a lot of people think who are big fans of Stadia. Champions, that was the other game. Yes, I knew that there was another superhero MMO. Was that also by the same company that made City of Heroes? I don't remember. Speaking of MMOs, does anyone remember the Family Guy MMO, the one that never made it out of open beta? No. I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you attack people with excuse me. Did you attack people with Cool Whip? Or are you saying Cool Whip? You're putting so much emphasis on the H. What was the game like? One thing that would help with increasing Stadia player base is to have a game that can only be done in the Stadia environment. Those are the kind of exclusives that I'm looking forward to. The ones that can't run on an Xbox because an Xbox can't do what the cloud can. Ray says Starfield coming to Stadia, Xbox exclusive because of acquisition. I don't think Microsoft is going to make all the Bethesda games exclusives. They like money. Mind Plague, when are the exclusives coming? I don't know. I would say next year or the year after. It takes a long time to make a game. But I'm okay waiting. I'm not in a rush. I want the games to come out and be awesome instead. I wish that I had tried Star Wars Squadron. I think that game looks awesome. Ooh, Outcasters does look really good. Outcasters looks fantastic. Did you guys see? Let me see if I can find it. So we got this new preview of a map for Outcasters. I love the art style that they're going for with this game. Where everything's made out of vinyl. It's just such a weird game. And I want to know more about it. And they're being so... Did you guys just see that? Look at that. So, like, they curved a shot around, and it landed in this thing. And then it started shooting back out. That's really cool. Now, let's see if this blue thing disappears when the fireball hits it. Doesn't look like it does. No, it did not disappear when the fireball hits it. Whoops. Hang on, let's go back one. Look at this. So there's one of those fire things right there. There's another one right. This is probably the one that we just saw. So this guy shot the fireball and curved it around there, and then it came over and hit this. There's another one of those right here as well. I got another one here, another one there. That game looks really cool. That game looks awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of dragons, I hope EA/BioWare release the new Dragon Age on Stadia. I love those games. Yeah, I would love that. Have I played Hades? No, I didn't. I did not request a review code because I knew that I didn't really have time to play it. But I've heard nothing but wonderful things about that game, which makes me want to play it. But right now, I've got plenty to play. I got Super Mario 64 that I'm playing through, and honestly, I might kill the stream so that I can go play that because I haven't been playing much of it. I've got Mario 35. Maybe I'll kill the stream and go play that instead. Then I've got Risk of Rain 2. And the other pro game that I got. I already had most of the pro games. I don't remember what the other one was. I mean, I hope so, Giovanni, but it doesn't seem like the kind of game that would require Stadia. It just seems like an exclusive for the sake of exclusivity. Cryptic Studios. Thank you very much, Preston. I played The Crew 2. I don't recall you talking about racing games very much. I don't like most racing games. I like Mario Kart. But most racing games I'm not interested in. I haven't played... well, that's not true. We had the free weekend, and I did like a couple of races, and I was like, I don't care. So then I stopped playing it. It's just not a game for me. Gary Johnson. Wow, almost a 2-hour open mic. I know. I would keep going, but I want to play. I want to play some Mario games. I haven't had a chance all week to really play. Is Madden ever coming to Stadia? Yeah, EA announced it earlier this year. Remember that you know, they have to port it to Stadia, and that's not an easy thing to do. They got to figure out how to get it to work. Hey, anybody who play That golf game. Did it ever get its patch? I love that game. PGA 2K21. It's so awesome. Giovanni, how do you find time for everything? Gaming and YouTubing and parenting? Well, I don't do a lot of editing of my videos. So that means that when you guys see a 15-minute video of me, I mean, obviously I edit some stuff out, but it didn't take me that long to make because most of it's not it's not scripted. And my kids are older. Like, my youngest is 12. He doesn't really require a lot of my attention. He doesn't really want a lot of my attention. He's downstairs playing with his friends online right now. My oldest has already graduated college. Yeah, the Trials Rising video where I had to edit out like forever amount of time. Marique says, what do your kids think about Stadia? My girls don't care about video games very much. They play on Nintendo Switch, but they don't play anything else. My son was playing 16-player Human Fall Flat yesterday, so he's pretty excited about that. Plus, every month he's excited about all the games that he gets for his pro subscription. How old am I? Get off my lawn. That's how old I am. No, I'm in my 40s. Andrew Hull says, next-gen consoles do have advantages. Ray tracing, dedicated 4K 60, and in some cases, much higher frame rates, quick resume, and bigger AAA games, exclusives, depending on preference for big-name franchises. While that is all 100% true, if I do buy an Xbox Series X, that doesn't mean that I can't continue to play games on Stadia. It doesn't have to be an either-or proposition. Just something to keep in mind, Andrew. And most of those advantages I don't care about. I don't care about ray tracing. It's cool when it comes, but I don't care about it. 4K 60, I would rather have just 60. I don't care about the 4K part. 4K is okay. Much higher frame rates, I don't care about because I don't own any devices that can do higher than 60 frames per second. Quick resume, that's awesome. And I think that Stadia needs to make sure that they have that feature as well. I don't know if it's possible with cloud gaming, though. Maybe it is. I don't know. You getting a PS5? I don't like Sony. Sony has ticked me off. I have a PS4 Pro sitting right here. Like here, you can see it. I think it's right here. But Sony made me mad this time around. You need Demon Souls. I've not played any. I played Dark Souls 3. It was just too hard for me. I'm old. I don't have the reaction time. I prefer there to be a circle on the ground so I can avoid it. How did Sony make me mad? With their crossplay shenanigans where they would get in the way, like it took Fortnite to be able to get us to have crossplay. Sony was standing in the way. I didn't like that. Sekiro comes out this month. A game looks interesting. I'm not going to be good at it. I certainly won't finish it because I'm going to get my tail kicked if I play it. How is Stadia on Wi-Fi? I noticed it plays better on Wi-Fi with Chrome OS. Well, I play it on Wi-Fi on my Chromecast in the other room, and it plays fine. Sometimes there'll be some macro blocking, but for the most part, it works really well. But I also have Google Home, not Home, Google Wi-Fi. All right, everybody. Well, I think I want to play some Super Mario 35. So I am going to cut the stream. I want to take a minute to thank our super chatters. We had a bunch of super chats come in today. You guys are amazing. So thank you to Sukotronic, Consino, Jem, Michael Mooney, William Millard, Andre Jimenez, Ronil, and Cedric Crenshaw. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate it. I'm going to go play some Super Mario Brothers 35 because that game, I want to get a win in that. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I'll see you guys around tomorrow. If you didn't already, hit the buttons on YouTube so that tomorrow you get a notification when Lloyd and I go live and we talk about all of the things that happened on Google Stadia this week. All right. Bye, everybody. Stay fantastic. I was looking down here so I could see the button that I have to push in order to do this. There we go. Bye, everyone.